You're watching a Highwire Media podcast.
Welcome back to the Political Pulse Show. Make sure you guys like this video down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. So Donald Trump has been president for about a month now, and already his approval rating has hit an all-time high. There's no slowing down with this honeymoon period for Donald Trump, and this is the highest approval rating that he's ever had. He's been in politics for almost 10 years, and he's gotten more and more popular indefinitely. It showed in this election. He got more votes than ever. He got a higher percentage of the vote than he's ever gotten in his other two previous elections. And not only that, he's building and expanding coalitions within the party, which bodes very well for future elections. Meanwhile, the other side is in complete shambles. They've lost the plot completely, and no matter how you look at it, Trump's win in 2024 seems to be one of the most consequential elections in the history of the country. It fundamentally changed our entire political landscape once again. You're seeing that reflected in some of these approval numbers. Now, of course, it's just a poll, and sometimes the demographics, the sub-demographics in these polls, can be a little inaccurate at times. But one thing we do know is that young voters are now plus 10 on Donald Trump. Now, they didn't vote for him outright, but he did very well with young voters, particularly young men, in the 2024 election. Out of the gate, 55% of voters under 29 side with him. I mean, this is exactly what we saw with Reagan and the Gen X generation. You always have a president that comes along and kind of defines a generation. You could even say it was Obama for millennials, JFK for the boomers, and Reagan in his time. But in terms of Donald Trump, this is like his generation. He's added a lot to the culture, and that's why he's becoming more and more popular. Not necessarily with the older millennials or the older Zoomers, but mainly the young Zoomers, those that are 24 and under. That demographic is really shifting to the right under Donald Trump because, frankly, it's just common sense. A lot of people can see that our leadership, as they were growing up in this country, has been going downhill in real time, and Donald Trump has kind of been that symbol against it. When he's out there fighting, putting a good team around him, and delivering already, you see what's going on. He's plus 10. Now, when we look at ages 65 and up, it's 50-50. That's kind of surprising. Typically, older seniors tend to be more Republican. And while it's true that many of them are, passing away, a lot of younger voters are Republican now, and that's making up for it. So it's possible that as part of the boomer generation moves up into the senior demographic, they become a little more liberal for some reason, even though plenty of them are still conservative. I think Trump is doing much better than 50% in terms of his approval rating. But is it at the level a Republican would have had 20 or 30 years ago? Probably not. Looking at approval by race, he's plus 22 among white voters. That's a decent margin. He's also at 33% with black voters. Now, I believe he got around 14 or 15% in the election, and while polls typically overestimate Trump's black support, this isn't too far off from reality. Approval doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be voting for your party, but still, the Hispanic numbers are even more shocking. Donald Trump shattered expectations in 2024, getting into the 40s among Hispanics, setting a record for a Republican. And now it seems like he could possibly be in the positives among Hispanics overall, which is absolutely huge. This shows that taking a stand on illegal immigration is not poisonous to the Hispanic electorate. You're seeing that reflected in Trump's approval numbers. Among women, he's underwater by 6 points, but look at men, plus 20. That is absolutely huge. He's also got 15% of Democrats on his side, 94% of Republicans. So not much change there. Now, looking at white voters broken down by education, one of the groups that's been moving left off a cliff has been white voters with a college degree. But even then, Trump is only down by 2 among them. He's barely likely up among white men with a degree, but among white women with a degree, he's vastly underwater. As for whites without a degree, almost a 70% approval rating, and that is absolutely huge. This just goes to show that when you're in power, getting things done and taking action, you're going to have a high approval rating. Trump has to keep up this pace over the next few years. And if Congress delivers for Trump, then voters could very well deliver for Republicans in 2026. But if they don't, then they're going to have a problem because a lot of people won't come out just to vote for a Republican majority. Even though it would help Donald Trump, if they're not delivering, people won't see the point. Now, switching gears for a moment, I wanted to touch on what we saw at the Super Bowl. Donald Trump got cheered, Taylor Swift got booed, and the Philadelphia Eagles made it too big to rig, just like Philadelphia did last November. What we're seeing is that America is back. Nature is healing. It obviously helped that they were in Louisiana, a pretty red state, even though New Orleans itself is a blue city. But the vibes have shifted. Trump went to the Super Bowl. Presidents should always go, to be honest. It's one of America's signature events every year. You would think the president would go more often. Regardless, he went, and when he faced the public, he got cheered. Meanwhile, the media darling, the one they always said Trump can't attack because he'll lose, she got booed. They put Taylor Swift on the Jumbotron, and the liberal celebrity gets booed. America is back. We got a long way to go, but you can tell we're back on the right track. Even CNN is now talking about Trump's approval rating. Even they understand that Donald Trump is now popular. Look at the difference between now and 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Back in 2017, Trump was already underwater at -5 points in net approval rating. That's approval minus disapproval. What a difference 8 years makes. He's now +4 points. And it's not just the CBS News poll. We're talking Gallup, Pew. All these pollsters have Trump in a better position than he was 8 years ago. Bottom line, Americans like what they're seeing now more than they did during Trump's first term. The media narrative just isn't working anymore. Trust in the media is at an all-time low. Back in 2017, the mainstream media had a lot more sway in terms of discourse. Social media censorship was a huge factor. But that's changed, especially with X. Even Meta is now admitting they did things wrong. It's bad for business, and they knew it. The mainstream media is collapsing, which is why they've become more unhinged than ever. Trump went directly to the people. On podcasts, social media, he bypassed the media filter, and it worked. People like Trump, he now has a positive net favorability rating. That means they're more likely to approve of the job he's doing, and that gives him a mandate for his second term. We'll see what happens, but for now, Trump's at the Super Bowl, record high approval rating. America is back. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like this video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button to be notified of future videos so you never miss another episode. You can follow me on social media. The links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.